All right, we are live. How is everyone doing today?
Good. I'm excited for the first hero we're actually talking about, opposed to just constant villains.
Hey, y'all had I know you guys had to call me on it because I am all about the bad guys. And when you were like, we should do a hero, I was like, what for? Because the good guys are good, but they're like way too mountains for us to climb right away. Like, Luke Skywalker or something. That's way too big of a mountain to climb. Yeah. We're gonna ease ourselves in with Wedge. Like I was joking around before. After reading his history over and over again, I know way too much about his call signs, where he was, why he was there. It's actually a lot deeper of a history than you would think. They had to kind of retcon him in. So
the super nerd status right there.
Oh, yeah. We'll get you a badge.
All right, I guess I'll keep doing this until. I mean, this just goes to show you how much Comic Head. I don't want to say his name. How much a certain member of our community is not watching our videos because I have to keep playing this. I have no idea. I'm sure it's done because it's doing that thing where it's freezing. So
it's already good. You're fine.
All right. All right. So we're just gonna get right into it. We're gonna show the little what we call the intro, and then we'll get right into the life of Wedge Antilles. But beforehand, I guess I should say, what's happening, poor Mike, and the eye candy, as we call him around here. Kachong is in the chat.
Eye candy without the eye candy. My lovely
All right, hopefully it doesn't freeze.
He's in the chat. So.
Wedge Antilles is one of the greatest pilots to serve the Rebel Alliance. Born on Corellia, he spent his youth working at fuel depots. Eventually, he began to fly cargo ships, but just wanted more excitement. That excitement came one day in the form of the Empire. The Empire would recruit and enroll him in the Skystrike Academy. While training there as a TIE Fighter pilot, his eyes were open to how cruel the Empire could be. We are not sure of the exact details, but we do know they hurt his family, his friends, and even his love, Mala. That led to his recruitment by the rebel agent Fulcrum. His first major battle was the Battle of Yavin. There he flew an X-Wing as a member of Red Squadron, callsign Red 2. He was Luke Skywalker's wingman during the final trench run, and although he eventually had to retreat after his ship was damaged, his X-Wing was one of only 4 ships to return to Yavin 4, and of the 12 members of Red Squadron, he and Skywalker were the only survivors. After the battle, he was promoted to lieutenant commander and was sent on several humanitarian missions and would go on to recruit even more pilots for the rebel cause. 3 years after the Battle of Yavin, he would be assigned to Rogue Squadron and tasked to protect Echo Base on the ice planet Hoth. And although the rebels suffered the terrible loss of Echo Base to the hands of the Empire, Wedge would be the first pilot to take down a walker during that battle. Now, a commander and leader of Red Squadron, he would lead his team on the attack of the second Death Star. Wedge flew into the core of the Death Star alongside the Millennium Falcon and fired the first shots into the reactor. This made him the only pilot to attack both Death Stars. In the months that followed, he was promoted to Captain of the New Republic and would hunt down the remaining Imperials in the Outer Rim. Next, we will discuss the life of the rebel hero, Wedge Antilles. Join us.
All right, there we go.
Sweet.
Get us fired up to talk.
I'm so loving the whole intro now, where we have that little video to dive into the character.
Yeah, it's something, all right. I'm not exactly confident, but it works.
Hey.
All right, Sam I Am Comics, what's happening? What's happening? All right. So, what did you guys, is there anything that surprised you when looking into Wedge? Any info?
Well, to be honest, as the lower ranking officer here out of us three, I kind of asked the stupid questions. I honestly, I didn't know that he defected. I didn't know he was a TIE Fighter pilot. So I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that might not know that either. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, you got to be a deep nerd, because that's one of the retcon things that they did for the Star Wars Rebels show to kind of to fill out his past a little bit more.
His resume, yeah.
Yeah.
Got it right up. Yeah, I think for me, the one thing I forgot about was that him and Luke were the only survivors of Red Squadron. Like,
Yeah.
I forgot, yeah, he's the only one, and he was also the only person to attack both Death Stars, because Luke was on the second one. He wasn't attacking it.
Yeah, that's what I would say would be my biggest like kind of takeaway, I guess, was I didn't even think about the fact that he was the only one that did both. Like it's kind of a big deal. And I don't know if they planned it that way. Like I don't know if that was planned out and the power that be was like, oh, I want this particular pilot, or if they would just need a pilot and he was available and they're like, yeah, you go back in there again. Yeah, there's a lot of like interesting, and we'll talk about it on the Battle of Scarif or whatever. A lot of interesting things that had to be adjusted because Dave Filoni is he's like a fan nerd. Like I know a lot of people claim when they do Star Wars or you go into Marvel that I was a fan my whole life and this is a dream. And then during interviews, their story kind of falls apart because they don't even really know any of the stuff. But I can tell you right now, that guy is like a bigger nerd than all of us, and I bet you would be surprised how big of a nerd he is if you actually had a conversation with him, because he clearly does this all the time. Where like you'll watch Rebels and you might not even notice it unless somebody points out, and there's something that was like random, like some guy with a beard in a movie that was an extra that people forgot was there, and he for some reason will put him in to a village and give that guy a backstory for no reason whatsoever. Like there's no need for it, nobody asked for it, and he's just like he just does it. And it's like it's pretty hilarious.
Oh, we asked for it, we need it. Subconsciously.
Then it does cause problem because then you got to explain, well, if he was there then, why wasn't he there later? So then you got to have to come up with a colluded story to figure out why he wasn't there.
He does all the fun stuff and gives all the painful homework to the interns to figure out.
Well, the good thing is they do try, because the our overlord that invented this world, whenever he would have that problem, he just ignored it. Like if people are like, whoa, hold on now. Why did Obi-Wan Kenobi not recognize R2-D2? And he's like, bah, I got time for that. Like, I got a story here, people. All right. So, do you want to talk about the comics, or do you just want to do right off the bat?
Yeah, we can talk about the comic because it's funny enough for his first appearance is obviously in the original Marvel, that first 6 issues when they was just an adaptation of the movie. But it's weird going back to that comic because if not many people knew, that comic came out before the movie did. It's because they Lucas optioned the rights to Marvel and basically begged them to make that into a movie or make it into a comic, and they got it made, and some things were changed because they're basically working off of scripts that were nearly completed the movie, but the movie they'd never seen it. They had no idea about certain aspects, and they just had to change things. So in issue number 6 is with the Battle of the Death Star, and that's where you first see Wedge when they're making their attack. Right. So that's the first page of the issue, and you see in the X-wing on the left, one of the guys calling out, "This is it, boys. Now let's Blue 2. Yeah, you're out too far."
I was like a little triggered. I got a little triggered today when you pointed that out. I didn't know.
Yeah, which I was saying about the whole, Marvel and not having all the information. They're called Blue Squadron, not Red Squadron, which is literally the complete opposite, like how they end up being like that. So in the next page over, they do a roll call where they go through all the different pilots, and it's Blue 2 standing by. So that is there's Wedge right there. Followed by Biggs is Blue 3, and then Luke is Blue 5. Blue 4, I can't remember who that is offhand, but Blue 6, I believe, is Porkins.
There it is, the man, the legend.
I wanted to do him originally, but his backstory is it's basically a page long. But
I'm a fan of Porkins.
Nice, so good.
So actually, yeah. I want to point out that some people that follow a certain app might actually take things how they stand on there, and it says that the first appearance is issue 5, but Hoser couldn't find him anywhere in issue 5, so issue 6 is the one to get.
That's your spec alert for your.
Oh no, I don't have that. Dang it!
Look out.
So what is it? Is this him right here?
That's him. Well, yeah. Can you zoom in? That's when Luke that's where I think he's first called Wedge in that issue.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, blue 2 here. That's it. Yep.
Blue 2.
I'm on him. Oh, wow. Well, you can't win them all. You can't get all of them right, I guess. You gotta that old app that'll get you if you just go by that, I guess.
Yeah. Pretty much for Wedge, it's when looking into what comic appearances he has, it's very, very slim. I thought there'd be more out there. It's more or less just a couple of novels and then the Rogue Squadron novels. But for comics, other than those original couple issues there, the only time he appears is in the Jason Aaron run of Star Wars in 2015. And then he's recently appeared in a couple of issues of the new run from Charles Soule. But we had basically screenshots from the Jason Aaron run where Wedge is taking part. It has a more of a bigger role where you can see him in some action.
Let me call it up real quick.
Yeah. But very much limited, which is
right, issue 23.
That's also one thing I was also surprised about how much outside of just the movies and the Rebel show and some of the novels, there's not much there.
You mean do issue 22?
Yeah, issue 22. Yeah, so that's the first issue he appears in canon.
Right.
Actually,
that's a cool cover, man. Honestly, I like that cover.
The covers are great.
Honestly, it's so the battle scenes. I'm really impressed with how. Whether it's La Roca or any of this it's not the Gillen
Space
run.
Battles, yeah.
Is it the Gillen run? Hang on.
That's the Aaron run there. Gillen followed afterwards, yeah.
Gillen came in later, yeah. The Aaron run. I mean, this is where they take on the Harbinger.
Mm-hmm.
And their plan is to see. Look at that! It's like a double spread page.
Yeah, that would go on my wall right there. Honestly, look at that.
It's fun how you can take something that could be so boring in just still images, like space fights are amazing to see in animation video. In the comic form, you feel like it'd be pretty boring, but they do a really good job of showing motion and everyone.
Absolutely. Hey, what's up? What's up? No good. I know you're gonna just say hey and then run away. So say hi before you go.
Hey, no.
So their plan in this is to steal the Harbinger, one of the Star Destroyers, and Luke goes in. They figure that if they can blow one of the engines, they blow one of the engine reactors, then they have about 7 minutes before the ship blows up, and so they figure that the guys on the Star Destroyer will evacuate. And so their plan is Luke goes in there. He actually goes inside the ship.
Yeah, Wedge blows a hole in the ship, and Luke just flies his X-wing straight through.
Yeah. They end up
Hear that?
ejecting the look at. I just wanted to show that panel because does the Millennium Falcon really zigzag like that?
Oh, it zigzags, baby.
They have Tron going on inside the Millennium Falcon on the screens.
I'm like, is that the route it really took? Maybe.
The other thing that I always wonder about Star Wars sometimes is they have these things here, these big exhaust ports or whatever they are. These things. One, wouldn't that be a really big target? And then two, they always fly like right next to them. And I'm like, to move that thing, aren't these like super heated? And they just
Yeah.
I've always wondered that too. You think you would be completely burnt to a crisp going past.
So they end up ejecting that engine reactor.
And this is really good art, by the way. Sorry to interrupt you, Kachung, but this is really good.
That's the first time. Also, there you go. First canon. That's the first time you see Wedge. Then, yeah, opposed to just hearing his voice in the intercom.
4-wheel steering. Oh my. But I think Han and Leia are piloting it.
Oh no!
So that's where he flies into the Star Destroyer. Luke's in there. He ends up getting on board, but they eject the engine, and it blows up outside the ship. And a lot of people don't realize that. And there's Wedge saying, "Where the heck are you guys? Is everyone alive?" So it's just a huge explosion behind him. And he's trying to figure out if everyone died or not, but they didn't. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler.
I mean, there it is. Everyone thinks it's blown up, and they get away with it.
I'm gonna tell you right now, this line right here, inform command that it's regardless of been lost. Somebody got choked out. Like 2 seconds later, somebody got choked out.
Yeah. I'm like, man. Oh, and then doesn't he ask for a gun?
Yeah, right here.
Yes.
He wishes to speak to you personally. Like that's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying when I read that. I was like, oh yeah, somebody's getting choked out. He's getting choked out.
May I borrow your blaster, please?
He's blowing brains out instead of getting choked by Vader. So there they are. They're kind of weirdly drawn.
It's funny in the series how they jump around the art, because they have the art where you'll see in the next issues we pull up, they do like extremely photorealism for the series, which occasionally looks really bad, but sometimes it looks good.
Like,
and then they have guest issues where they have different artists like this come in.
Yep. It's still a great story.
Oh, it's so fantastic. That's the thing. The stories are, no matter what the art and the series, the stories are very good. And it's a great fleshing point for what's happening. Because we'll never see that in live action because of the actors.
Right.
So this is a perfect way to flesh it out for people.
We go back one to that last. There's a TIE fighter saying, hello, is anyone there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, can you stop shooting us? Or something like that. And then they blast him out of the sky. So yeah, you got to read the rest to find out what they do with the Harbinger.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cool.
Because after this, that's issue 22. The next time Wedge shows up is all the way over at issue 45, and that's him on the cover there.
First cover appearance.
Looking a lot like He-Man, just real skinny version.
Mr. G, where's Yoda?
What?
Where's Yoda? Where's our spec alert? It's his first cover appearance.
Oh, it is. You know what? Yeah, no, that's totally. That's too many now. Like, I have to,
all the specs.
Yeah, I have to. That's like a bunch of specs in a row now. So we're gonna have to just. I know. Plus, I know that he likes it a lot that I have him collapsing for the spec alert. He feels a disturbance in the force every time we have a spec alert come up.
Love it.
Yeah, first appearance, first appearance, first canon appearance, first cover appearance. You have to hit the spec alert.
Yep.
So this story, so there you go.
Hold on, before you go, in case you're wondering if this really is, they make it pretty obvious when he screams Wedge.
Yeah,
that's because he's drunk.
Yeah, they're drunk at that moment. That's the best. They've been drinking, so he's like, "Yeah, you forgot about me." So they're at a bar inside the. I can't remember where they are exactly. But they're obviously.
Hey, what's up, Funk? What's happening, dude?
Hey.
Oh, Dennis. Sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, Luke's had one too many drinks, so he now looks really real. And then, so yeah, they talk about Rogue or Red Squadron.
Oh, I threw that in because of Hera and what's his name?
Zeb.
I always forget his name.
And then we'll have we'll see more Hera as well, which we'll also have a clip from the Squadrons video game later. We can show with it too.
Oh, interesting point right there.
Yeah.
After this issue, I have them lined up in the Marvel app. The Dr. Aphra issue is this one.
Yes.
With Hera and Aphra, they capture her to use her.
Such a gorgeous cover.
Yeah.
No, he was not drinking Romulan ale. No, he was not.
Anyway, go ahead.
The other night, like two nights ago, I was on Twitch because, spoiler alert, I'm now on Twitch. I just haven't made it official because we're getting the bugs out. But I did send a link to a few people, and they're like, I don't recognize them because sometimes they're not the same. So it's like if it was, Kachung, maybe he's Dave's, Big Daddy 3 when he plays video games. I don't know. But I saw somebody come in, they commented, and they were a name I don't recognize. And I'm like, I don't know if that's somebody I know, because I had basically tests going. And then it said, is this game a Star Trek game? Because I love Star Trek. I'm like, yeah, I don't know who it is, but I know that I know them. if they're already here talking about Star Trek already. Like, I don't recognize the name, but I know for sure that I know who this person is somehow, some way.
Luke was drinking blue milk, I believe.
Yeah.
Fermented blue milk.
Spiked milk.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. So if you have somebody as powerful as Luke and kind of childish, and he gets super drunk, is that not like the most dangerous thing to be in the world? Is like
you'll actually see him use his power. He's the Force later. He actually force pushes Wedge down because he surprises him. He's
I would think that would be one of the rules that Jedi should have, would be like, maybe you don't get super drunk if you have the power of the Force, and you can move, starships and things like some of the people have in the past, and some of these ridiculous things. And you be all drunk all the time.
I would like to see that in a skit, though. Just that some drunk Jedi trying to pull the bottles off the wall or pulling the tap himself.
So that's where he started in the books, where he was in the movies. And then I have a little clip here of how they decided in the Rebels. What's up?
Well, just before that, actually go back into the comic ones, because you're going to see something that's actually going to directly.
Okay, cool. Let me share it again. Every time I unshare, it's taking it off, which is kind of weird, but it's okay.
Yeah, they're all having a shot.
All right, where at?
So scroll that next one right there, the one after Admiral Akbar. 45-12.
Some more drunken
as they're sitting there drinking together, another one goes, "Mind you join," and then Hobby. And we were at the academy before we defected, he says. We met Zev here and one of the General Hera's training exercises.
Oh,
so
wow.
That's why it was funny, speaking of the clip from Rebels.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. Any more to this, or you just wanted to show that one?
Then they're talking about that's when it remembered me that everyone died. Like, they talk about everyone dying, and he's like, and Biggs about his best friend when he was younger.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so that's everything in that issue.
Okay, that one. Okay.
So for the clip, of the defection.
All right, then I'll show the clip real quick, and then I'm gonna play both. I'm gonna play back-to-back ones. Disney, listen. I've given you a lot of money over the years. Come on, man. They already warned me. I already got a warning from YouTube. I showed it to them, and they're like, "Hey, if you think that you might get copy striked again, maybe you ought to just upload it first and let us take a look." But all right, Disney, come on.
This is TIE SS-36 on patrol at point 149, awaiting wingman.
Copy that, 36. This is TIE SS-25. You can call me Wedge. What's your name, Cadet?
I'm Rhea Tala.
Don't break protocol. Comm numbers only.
All right, so that's where he first says his name, and then here's...
Allow me to present Lieutenants Wedge Antilles and Hobby, formerly of the Galactic Empire.
Commander, we heard you're looking for some good pilots.
Indeed we are. Welcome to the rebellion.
And I just want to point out, although that's awesome, he obviously becomes a hero. That was quick. Like, they trust people really fast.
Yeah.
I don't know. There are a lot of stories of them getting, infiltrated by some people, but it seems like it'd be really easy to infiltrate the rebels. Because they're just like, "Oh, yes, we could right this way. We could definitely use you." I mean, I know they probably, if there's a backstory of them knowing and talking, they kind of check them out. But it's just funny that they're just like, "Yeah, we're good." So that is his new story of where the first time we kind of see him now is that I'm not 100% sure. What season was that? That was pretty late into the game. I know that.
That was season 3.
I think I saw it relatively recently, so it might have been.
That must have been season 3, because that's when Thrawn. It was season 3 because they were getting the stuff ready for fighting to liberate Lothal.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I think they were saying it when I was reading it, when he helps the rebels for the first time, the rebel, the cartoon, he helps them, but in the process, it makes Thrawn has a big map where he's tracking their stuff, and he actually doesn't matter. They blow stuff up. He doesn't care because he's always thinking, and he's like, okay, they're there, and he's like narrowing it down where he thinks they are, and he helped them, but all it did was get Thrawn a little bit closer to their base. And what's up, Fuchsia? Finally, Fuchsia has not been around. There's no more hunters where they're supposed to be hunters, and finally, the third and always hunter is here. Hello, Fuchsia. Sam, I Am Comics says a drunk Jedi is not a good idea. Easy slide to the dark side. I think you're just in the dark side when you're drunk, aren't you?
In dark side, yeah, you mean blackout drunk. Then
yeah. I will say that I did have to watch that later, and it was really cool. I said hi because it was technically my birthday. So when I picked up the phone to look at it, I got a lot of dirty looks. There were a lot of little eyes staring at me, and I was like, I was just saying hi. Everyone calm down. And we just sat there and watched TV. So I don't know what they were so upset about, but I guess it's that birthday. And then we have a celebrity here, people. We have a celebrity. Look what we got here.
Queen Bee.
Speaking of that, this brings an interesting kind of note that I actually didn't warn you about. So I'm going to just hit you blindsided with this. Have you ever, and what do you think it would be like to have a cosplay of, if not Wedge, but well, I think it would have to be somebody kind of somewhat known, but an X-Wing pilot like that. Would it be a good one, or is it just kind of too generic?
It wouldn't be too bad. I've seen a couple around.
Because I feel like, I don't know like how cool it would be. I almost think you'd have to be like an alien to make it really cool, because it's just an orange jump. Like I think my son was one for Halloween, if I'm being honest. Right. So it was a pretty good one. So I don't know.
An orange and white jumpsuit, but I mean, it's got to be the right color scheme, and the helmet.
What about the idea of having it like the costume you crashed, so it was all battle damage, torn up, and
that'd be neat.
Might as well make it a zombie. We might as well just go ahead and just go all the way to the end of that.
Hey, we could talk about Star Wars zombies at some point.
All right, so where are we at in the line here?
Yeah, so after issue 45, it jumps to issue 49, and that is a pretty straight run where he's in the story arc called Hope Dies. Yep. That was a really good story arc. It crosses back over with the Darth Vader series. Yep. Basically, at this point, there's this woman who is the Empress of Turon. It's a planet in the inner core who does a lot of manufacturing. The idea is that she has been manufacturing for the Empire under Vader's directions, and that she has been playing with the rebels, saying that she's defecting and she's doing stuff behind the scenes. But secretly, she's actually double crossing them and working with Vader. And Leia doesn't know yet, and she slowly finds out. It's a really good midpoint for the series and leading to the conclusion of Aaron's run. But anyways, so 49 is the first issue of it, which I don't know if it just there's only I guess I only had one from issue 49 there. So that one, which is some action of when Biggs is shooting down some starfighters.
Yeah, that's good art there. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's some great battles.
And that's pretty awesome too. That cover.
And this one here, as Kachun mentioned, which I didn't think about, this is technically the first appearance of Rogue Squadron. Oh, he's prepared.
Spec alert.
Spec alert as well.
Because the movie's coming, Rogue Squadron.
You dirty dog. You double. Hold on. Like any true spec, you make sure you had a cover copy first, then you throw the spec out. Well done, sir. That is perfectly done. You could have given me a heads up first, but it's fine. It's neither here nor there. That's fine. It's fine.
Get a copy. It's the first time Rogue Squadron is in canon.
That's amazing. That's hilarious. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, the movie coming out too. We have actual spec. So yeah, with that,
fake spec. There's no fake spec here.
Yeah, fake spec. So following that, this is a scene here where Biggs is saying, Wedge is saying, what is he saying here? Exactly.
Can you zoom in?
They're talking to each other, and then he brings up what's our call sign? This is just before they get into battle. And then
Right.
Luke says, you know, Wedge, if we're acting like Jyn Erso, I have to disagree. It's time for sentiment. What we call Rogue Squadron. So that's when they name drop it too. That's page 21 of the issue, near the end of it.
There you go.
And then there's the full script, which is a great looking page.
Yeah, I'm about to say, which is also an amazing page. Well done there, sir.
Mhm.
Wow.
Straight to the Star Destroyer.
But
So
yeah,
he went
that-
from Blue
yeah.
Squadron in the comic to Red Squadron to Rogue Squadron.
It's hilarious. You can't constantly jumping between. And speaking of Rogue Squadron, because that leads off of that, Rogue Squadron becomes led by General Hera leads it over, and it carries on through after Episode 6 into post Return of the Jedi, and that leads into the Squadrons game that came out last year, and Wedge actually shows up in it, voiced by the same actor. And then we mentioned about the training exercise they've been doing, and yeah, this is one of the only clips outside of Rebels and the movies where you see.
So we got a comics, we got cartoons, we got movies, and then we have video.
You're a visitor. Wedge Antilles, Rogue Squadron. I hear you're the reason I was able to finally get a comm through. I have a Star Destroyer problem that Vanguard might be able to help me solve.
And then I got a second.
Speedy introduction. But Talos Group was counting on me to get reinforcements fast. Your commander says you have talent. Enough to steal a Star Destroyer and get away with it. Normally, I'd have Rogue Squadron for this. But General Syndula gave me a temporary assignment to Project Starhawk.
Yeah.
General Syndula.
And I almost cut that a lot shorter. And as I was cutting it, I heard that line. I was like, nope, I better back that up like another 5 seconds and catch that line in that clip.
Yeah. And she also shows up in that game too as same voice actor fully appears. It's a very fun game. That's the most immersive fighter game ever.
And when you play the multiplayer, it is hard. That is a hard game.
The first day when I got that game, day one, and I got random multiplayer as soon as I could, the amount I loaded right into an asteroid map, and the amount of people, there was more deaths on screen for people crashing into asteroids than actually not shooting each other down.
Like I played it and it was okay, and then I didn't play the game for like a week, and then I went straight to multiplayer, and I'm flying. I think I'm doing something, and then all of a sudden all the lights come up that I'm going the wrong direction. So I go to turn. And it keeps screaming no matter which way I'm going the wrong direction. And then I literally looked for an asteroid and I just straight into it because I'm like, I don't know where I'm at. I'm just going to die and hopefully it respawns me or something. It is hard playing that game. You can't just walk away from it.
Fun, though. So much fun.
It is very fun.
But yeah, that's what I had at least when I pulled through the comics. That's his major appearances. After that, he doesn't appear again in the comics until the new run. And that's only just the most recent issues, and it's more like a quick snippet. Nothing like in the Aaron run so far. Nothing very contributional.
And then he appears again, which I meant to make a clip, but I just forgot to just now. He does make an appearance in the movie that will not be named.
But yeah, he shows. Yeah, for literally, actually, when I went and looked on YouTube, I looked up that clip to see how long it was. I looked up Wedge Antilles' appearance and so, and it says like 3 seconds is how long it was on YouTube. And it goes, he says one line and it's over.
Yeah, it's just like nice shooting, Falcon, or nice shooting something. I forgot what he said, but it's just
the thing is I can't remember who he's talking about.
Yeah, and here's the bad part about it. You got this actor to come back after he said no a few times, and there's no mention like, hey, you're with Lando, right? So nice shooting, Lando. Or nice flying. He goes, nice flying, Lando. Go back and say nice shooting, Wedge, and just say his name. Like, why would you just say his name? They did all this like fan service, kind of, sorta, and then they still would like, you know what? We want to rile them up. So yeah, take another one, fans. Like we don't need to go off on a tangent. I apologize, Disney. I love you. Don't do anything silly.
They probably paid a fortune too.
Oh, I can imagine. He was walking out there smiling.
Let me tell you something. Anybody that's still around from the original Star Wars and saw the amount of money that was being dumped onto people's heads, they are not doing anything unless they're paid. I assure you. Some of these new actors might not know, But all these guys, that played all these characters, and they're like, "Hey, you want to come back for quick?" They're like, "I sure would." However, remember last time George got me for like $10 and a case of beer? That's not happening this time.
That's the thing. And then all the people who wore masks and costumes, they just completely recasted them. They're like, yeah, you know.
Okay, so the funny part is a lot of this, because it's a fan thing, right? So a lot of the I know we're going off on a tangent, but a lot of the people who are talking or making cameos, they're still bad actors because they're bad actors back then. But the actual famous actors are all the ones in the background you can't see with masks on. Like I keep seeing more and more stuff. They found out that another famous person wanted to be in Star Wars, but they're in a mask, or they're like, their heads are covered, or they're facing the other direction so you can't see them. It's like the actual star power is in the crowd, and the people who are making the cameos are the ones from like the 70s.
Unless it's Anthony Daniels.
Yeah. Well, what's funny? There has been, for Anthony Daniels, he has played C-3PO in every single voiced or physical appearance. There's not been another actor to actually play him.
That's great.
Every single thing, because he's like, no one else can do the inflictions of a robot like I could. I am C-3PO. So he's literally to the point where there was a really obscure like chess game that was like not even like the Star Wars chess, just chess, and it was like the actual Vader and Emperor as like the king and queen. That chess game where he voices over a C-3PO for a couple of lines, and that's it. And he still did it. And I was like back in the 80s.
I will tell you this: there was a Lego movie that my son was watching. It was really bad. It was like DVD movie. It wasn't good. And I'm not even 100% sure it was legitimate Lego. I can't remember. But it was like quick flashes of people, right? And all of them were not the original actors. It was like this, there's all these different characters from different movies. And the C-3PO one went on there. And there's a bunch of different Star Wars, Chewbacca and everything. And I go, man, that guy did a really good job. And his random looked up, and it's actually him. He's the only one. All the other characters and all the different franchises that were in that movie were not the original actors that I could find. I mean, I didn't go through every single one, but
so I wonder if he's the only actor who takes the pay cut, because if he's like, oh, we're gonna get C-3PO in this Lego movie to do some voice lines. We're not. He's like, oh, it has to be me. And then he's like, I want so much money. And it's like, oh, we'll just cast a different actor. He's like, okay, I'll do it for free.
That is probably how you can get them. We should have done that. We should have done like a fan movie for you. Like, hey, you can jump in here or not, but it's happening with or without you. All right, so where we are on Wedge is that. So that's pretty much it, right? We kind of went through his life.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And then he leads into the Rogue, and the Squadrons game is the only other post Return of the Jedi stuff he's in. And then it just kind of, there's some random books, which is the Aftermath series he shows up in. And that's its own big beast of a series. But other than that, no, that's it for comics so far. I mean, he'll probably appear more in the new series as time goes on.
And unless they add on to a story, from what I saw, the only thing that we kind of know is that the last we've heard of him is in canon is that he went to the Outer Rim, like I said in the opening thing, and went to go hunt down the last of the Empire, and that's kind of where they left his story. There's like a few little mentions, but so as far as we know, he is always and forever hunting the Empire and the Outer Rim until we know otherwise.
But if they don't put him in the Rogue Squadron movie, then I don't know, it's game over, right?
Oh, they have to. If they don't, that's going to be really like they'd have to make mention to at least.
Yeah. And so
and then we didn't talk about the Scarif. We didn't talk about
to say,
there with Rogue One.
So when they put him into Rebels, and then they had Rebels, because there for a while, I love Rebels. Like I've said many times, it's me and my son's favorite show. It was the show that we watched, the first ever show we watched together. So I got a really soft spot. But I will say this: they were forcing a lot of Star Wars in Rebels. They were putting their hands into every single aspect of it, to the point where I was like, you guys are doing so much. I got to the point, I remember telling a friend, and maybe one of these days we'll do that show, that they have to kill all these people off in a kind of dramatic way, because they have their hands in so many cookie jars that if they're not put into every movie, it doesn't make sense, because they basically had her as the leader, as the starter of all the rebellion, basically. And she was, recruiting all these people. Then you had Ezra, who became a super powerful Jedi. And then you have and I'm like, at some point, we're going to have to find out why we never see them again. And it kind of has to be pretty dramatic. And I mean,
then bringing Thrawn on top of that too, right?
Yeah. But because of that, they had to do something, because they put also Wedge in there. So in the cartoon, or in the story now, he was sent on a bunch of different missions kind of learning his way through it because he was still kind of a recruit, and he ends up crashing his A-wing on a ridge of a volcano. I'm not sure why that's important, but they say that every time on the ridge of a volcano, and he breaks his leg. And immediately when I read that, I was like, oh, I see what they did. And because he break his leg, apparently you can't get into a cockpit if you got a broke leg. That's just not possible. So in Scarif, they had him doing all the announcing, all the pilots, everyone line up, get ready to go, alert, alert. He was the one telling all the pilots where to go in the Scarif battle.
Which also didn't realize that was his voice the whole time either.
No, never did realize that.
Desk duty.
I still love that movie. That movie's one of my favorites. Especially how when they just say spliced in for when the fighter pilots are going. Also, funny enough, they have Blue Squadron there as kind of like a joke reference to the comics, where they all die off anyways by the end of it. And what I liked about was they used it, but they used they had new footage of actual people, but they had to use old footage too of like other squadrons. And what they did was they just used deleted scene footage from episode 4 of people inside the ships. So you can see quickly that you can tell the difference right away, but it's such a cool detail. Yeah, it's so amazing. I was blown away in the theater seeing that.
Rogue One is a great movie.
It's good. It is good. It's one of those ones that at the time I was like, they're just trying to force these out, but that one was really good.
I was sad after that because that's my favorite of all the Disney ones they've done so far for movies. And I was excited when they did that. I was like, oh, cool. All the anthology movies are going to be probably the best part. And then Solo came out, and I thought that was okay. And then they just stopped doing it for the rest of the stuff.
Solo's okay. Solo is a better movie if it's not a Star Wars movie, in my opinion. If you say it's not Star Wars, then it's just an action heist movie in space.
That's just more of certain scenes are great.
Again, off on a tangent, but I will say this: what makes that movie good, because it does have something to do with what we're talking about, is the fact that it was done. The director was allowed, and however many people were involved in that were allowed to kind of tell a story, right? So the characters had flaws, they were likable, you hated them at times, and at the end, spoiler alert, not everybody makes it out. Okay, I won't go into too much. And you needed that though, like that's a good thing about a movie. And instead of at the end, somehow everybody miraculously makes it or something silly like that movie, I was surprised. I thought they were going to find a way to save everybody, and they don't. They literally, and most everyone knows where they're at the time it's happening. They're not making it another foot, and they stood the ground, and that was really good. And then you had the cameos at the end of the movie, which
probably one of the best scenes.
Probably one of the greatest scenes in the history of Star Wars, to be honest with you. I remember when
that loop, right?
I watched that movie with the wife at the movie theaters, and then we watched it to make sure my son could watch it. And I said, I don't even know if he's old enough to watch it, but he has to watch it to see the end. And I just want to see him freak out in the movie theaters, and he did. And I had to go shh because he was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. He was like losing his mind in there. Well, all right, so that's Wedge.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you guys have a great night. Goodbye. No, I'm just playing. So, do you have any news?
Well, we have I actually got more news added. I hope you've watched it already. But I will quickly go off on. We have only two.
Hold on! Don't you jump ahead of my.
Well, you gotta jump back because we have 2 comics coming out tomorrow.
Well, you want to do news first or comics?
Comics is only 2, and then there's no big note to them.
Okay, here we go then. Why I did that to poor RDD2, but it worked.
So, yeah. If you go to the Google Drive, we have 2 comics coming out, both of which are not new comics; they're just different printings.
Really? Oh, High Republic.
Yeah, which is pretty funny that of all the week. So that one there is issue number 2. It is the 3rd printing of the comic, which also surprised me that it's the 3rd printing for the 2nd one. I thought so far of the series, this first issue was okay. The 2nd issue got much better and much more interesting. And now they're doing a 3rd printing on it, which is, so if you didn't pick it up the first couple of times, you have another chance tomorrow. Hopefully not at a crazy price either. Are they selling that many? Did they need a 3rd print of the 2nd issue? Don't know. Well, here's the next thing. This is even crazier to me. Click the next one, Mr. G. There's a 2nd print of the 3rd issue. Oh, with a nice spoiler cover for the issue, so sorry for that. But
well, they're on a multiple print, so it's too late now.
Yeah, it's too late, guys. But yeah, so that's the only stuff coming out. It's both new printings for High Republic.
I will say this. Sorry, I do appreciate this cover because I actually haven't read Star Wars: The High Republic because I'm going to read it on the tablet, and I just found the tablet like 2 days ago. However, it does the job. Like, I am super interested into what's going on. Like, this cover might have nothing to do with the story whatsoever.
It does. It's from the direct page. Yeah.
So like, oh yeah, that's what they usually do with these. But I'm just saying that really makes me want to know what's going on in the story. You know what I mean? Like, that's old school comic booking right there.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting where they're going with it. I'm curious, especially the one character, the Master, is in the other page there.
This one?
Yeah. Chris. No, that's the Padawan. What's his name? I can't remember offhand, but basically he's an interesting character, and I wonder because he's Trandoshan, and what they bring up the fact is Trandoshans are naturally more violent, and him being a Jedi, he's constantly fighting with some feral aspects of himself, and him being a Master as well. He's already at that point where he's already high enough, but the other Masters kind of see him as a little lower, even though they are treating him the same.
Can you zoom in a little bit on that?
Yeah.
And I won't spoil what's going on with him here, but that in the background is one of the two main villains of the High Republic. There's the you have the Nile, which are the Space Vikings, and then that is the other one, which is the Drengir. That's the it's a plant species basically.
Wow.
So yeah.
By the way, if anybody's wondering, Google Alert is the bomb because that is. You don't lose anything when you zoom in. Look at that.
Yeah.
That is pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's new comics. That's about it for there. Now, regarding news, if you want to bring that back up.
Yeah.
Yeah, for news, we have actually a couple of things. We have, I'll jump into the big news first. So Sebastian Stan, as everyone knows as Winter Soldier, Marvel, people actually have noticed and acknowledged that he actually looks a lot like Mark Hamill did back in the 80s. If you do side-by-side comparisons, you can actually, because it's pretty uncanny. But people would like to see him play Luke as a young version of Luke in a movie or a show, sort of like how Solo did, but actually a more actual likeness and a better attention to detail. But Sebastian Stan had come out saying he would love to play Luke, but only as long as he has the blessing from Mark Hamill. Like, Mark Hamill has to call him and give him, like, they have to talk to each other first about it before he would even accept the role, which is a very interesting thought. That he's definitely a person who would do a really good job of the role. I feel.
Of course, he would let him.
Based on that.
Yes, I assume. No, that does make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's a weird thing. But I get it. It's cool. But yes, I don't think that Mark Hamill. I would be pretty surprised if he wouldn't do that. I mean,
we've already seen Luke in Mandalorian and such.
Yeah.
So, and using the same body double they did in episode number 9. So,
I don't mind that. But just for short clips, I don't think like if Luke came back for whole of season 3 of Mandalorian, that would be just annoying.
No, definitely not.
They don't have that CGI down yet, but
you need very short and quick CGI is good. With a lot of like the way they did it was pretty good. Like, I could even use a little bit less of them, but it's like a cloak here, a wisp here, a belt, and yeah. But if he's like talking and holding on like conversations, that's gonna be no good. Like, that's not.
So what do you think about? What do you think about Sebastian Stan then taking them doing an actual series or something with him where it's an actual role he's playing as Luke, not just cameos?
I don't know. I know that I got issues as a man crush on him, so he'll probably deep dive more into Star Wars.
That's how you make him deep dive.
Yeah, he'll definitely then.
He'll show up to conventions with the lightsaber, get a picture with him and everything.
To be honest, before Winter Soldier and the Falcon, I would have been like, I don't know, maybe. But Star Wars has a pretty long history, for good or bad, of picking actors that are questionable, if unknown. But sometimes they're not the greatest of actors. But I've actually really liked them in in The Winter Soldier and Falcon. I thought he's done a pretty good job. He's pretty funny. He's he does a lot of stuff with his body movements and facial expressions. I mean,
range of motion, yeah. There.
Yeah, it could work.
Yeah, and he's already employed by Marvel, so.
So it's
they might get canceled because they're not. Nah, I better not. Disney, I apologize. I didn't even go there. I didn't go there, Disney. I apologize. I don't need to be stricken down again.
Oh man. So after that,
I think what kind of? I mean, if they brought Luke back as a young, what would they be using him for? Like,
my only thought would be is if they do one of two things, because seemingly what they're doing right now in the show is with Thrawn, with the idea of Thrawn, they could be working to create a new Thrawn trilogy in the shows. So I wouldn't be surprised if they get Luke involved in that way.
Yeah.
Or if anything, if they don't do that, they do a thing where it could be Luke on a quest going through and gathering people for his Jedi Temple. And along the way, we'll get people like Kyle Katarn and we'll get Mara Jade and stuff like that. That would be really, because we haven't seen any of that, and that's some of the biggest things our fans are waiting for.
That was my first thought. Was hit. I mean, he's taking Baby Yoda, so he's got to go train him. So creating the Jedi Temple would probably be the next step.
Mm-hmm. And seeing it at its height, not when it's at it's crumbling.
Because Baby Yoda means a lot to a lot of people that not even Star Wars fans. That's some money right there.
Oh yeah, especially if they put him in there, that's just going to get more attention. Especially if they make it into a movie. If they do that, they'll get the attention there, not just from Marvel fans with Sebastian Stan. You'll get people who were just liked watching Mandalorian for Grogu. That'd be great there. So it'd be a win-win, I can imagine. But other than that, the other news we have a couple of different things. I'll go to the smaller one next. Is just randomly came across this. No toys, like mentioned before. We talked about the Black Series. There's a thing Lego's doing where they're creating these helmets or statues out of Lego. And I had sent the link to you, Mr. G, if you're able to pull it up.
I don't think I put it on there.
Yeah, I'll send it to you again here. Basically, so what they did before was they had Boba Fett helmet and another helmet too. I think it was a Stormtrooper, and they made it out of Lego. They're bigger too, and it looks really cool. And they announced 3 new ones: a Vader, a Scout Trooper, and I really want this next one is a full probe droid.
All right, let me build it up. Let me get it up here before.
Yeah.
Okay, now I will share my screen here.
Wait, what kind of droid?
A probe droid, the one from episode 5.
Yeah. Imperial.
So
probe droid.
it's a really cool look too. But if you scroll down, you got the Vader, and the prices too were okay. The Vader there is $69.99 US. The Scout Trooper is $49.99. And then I love this probe droid. This just looks so cool to me.
Oh, look at that!
Like I just want that just to put somewhere.
Hey, you get to build it too.
Yeah. The fun part about $59.99 for the probe droid. And then there you go. It was the TIE Fighter helmet, Stormtrooper, and Boba Fett.
That's pretty cool.
That's
so it's
pretty
a really cool line that they're doing. I had no idea about those other ones before that until seeing these ones. And I hope they do some more of those. Especially like I want a Shore Trooper one. Those are some of my favorites from the new Star Wars.
Yeah, Shore Troopers are real cool, and they make not to go too nerdy. But they do make pretty awesome toys too. Like their Black Series Shore Trooper is pretty ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
All right, and then
so other than that, these next 2 things are in the Google Drive images. So I talked about Andor last week and how they said that Obi-Wan was going to show up in there in some capacity or not, as well as they're starting to film. And should be at the very top, yeah. Photos leaked of the set from aerial drones or whatever, and they're using like pretty large like live action set. You also see stormtroopers in some town. What it looks like.
Wow.
So I mean, yeah, those are big. That's a full on sequence. That's a little human right there. So there's more humans. Wow. I mean, you're kind of destroying my childhood a little bit, just a little bit. But yeah, that's pretty cool. Oh, look at the green screen back there too. Okay, that's kind of cool.
You
Yeah.
gotta hide the green screens, you know.
Now, look, they got more over here if they need to expand.
Yeah.
That's
And this
really
is being filmed in the UK right now too.
UK.
The UK.
Well, awesome. That is really cool. And then you want to do this other thing?
Yeah, that's just basically mentioning about the show getting on its way. But Obi-Wan, they actually they announced this yesterday. They showed a full casting of everyone in the Kenobi show. I feel like there's some more people they're hiding, but for now, these are the main cast they have. So they have Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan and Hayden Christensen coming back as Anakin and Vader.
If you don't feel bad for like this gentleman here, I'm hoping he's gonna knock it out of the park because he could use a win.
Oh, if he does a bad job, it's gonna be really sad.
Yeah, if he does a bad job, it's over with.
But I hope that. Sorry.
I was gonna that third lady there, the third.
Moses Ingram, yeah.
Yeah.
So the other ones, I was gonna say quickly. I hope they do a Clone Wars flashback where they're in the armors. That's all when they mentioned the Kenobi show originally. That's all I wanted to see. First off, was just them in the Clone Wars armors doing a battle like some clones as a flashback. That was the first thing I was hoping for.
Yeah, I must say, and I know that it's not the case because of what happens, but when I saw this chick, I have no idea what she's doing. It gave me a little bit of like because I thought about, past loves but obviously being.
So the other actors, no one knows what their roles are. Funny enough, so for the top, so that for Moses there, I don't know who she could be playing, but people pointed out that the Joel actor and Bonnie there, they kind of look like they'd be Aunt Owen, Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru.
Probably, yeah.
Because if you look at them, they also look like the younger ones. I think they actually might be the younger ones that they had in episode 3.
Moses Ingram, I think the rumor was that she may be Ventress.
Yes, actually, I didn't think about that because they had mentioned before Indira Varman. I mentioned as well that she was casted last week, or the first week you did this. And
I don't know about all that, but I can tell you she's got the cheekbones. Goodness gracious!
So people think she could be Satine, or they think she could have been Ventress. But now looking at Moses, I could definitely see her being Ventress.
Yeah. And that funny guy, he's in Eternal.
Funny.
What?
The funny guy. Yeah, he's Kamal.
Second across.
Yeah,
he looks like the barman in the cantina.
And look, we got royalty. We got Ice Cube down here at the bottom, so that's pretty cool too.
Oh, that's his son. I forgot. Yeah. So all the other ones, I'm curious what they do. I like that actor, the Sun Kang. I like him and stuff.
Yeah, I like him too. He's a good one.
So I wonder what he would be like. So I'm curious what all these actors gonna be playing. I feel like Rupert there would probably be the villain, just looking at that mustache.
You're gonna totally go by the cover of the book, are you?
Yeah, 100%.
If he's not, he should have been, because if he doesn't look like a villain, I don't know.
The Grand Inquisitor.
Oh, so people are rumoring that too. It'd be funny if he shows up in a way, like in a ghost apparition or whatnot.
Seventh Sister.
Awesome. Yeah, that's pretty good. So there's your cast for the Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
I am excited because Obi-Wan Kenobi is my homeboy. That is my favorite character. But I'm also concerned because Star Wars, although I love you, Disney, Star Wars has disappointed me lately with some of their decisions. So I'm hoping they're bringing it back, though. I'm liking some of the stuff they're doing. But whew.
Oh, yeah. And then outside of that, the only other news actually came out today. It was uploaded earlier. Kachun probably watched it, but I don't think you did, Craig, was The Bad Batch. They've dropped another trailer. A much more in-depth trailer.
I have not watched it. I got issues sent to me, I think, but I haven't had a chance to watch it yet because I was at work.
I have not seen it yet.
Oh, so neither of you. So I won't talk about what the trailer exactly is, but I'll mention some people who show up in the trailer, such as... So we see Tarkin first off right away, and this is at the turn of just before Episode 3. He's wearing what looks like is the Imperial outfit. Actually, no, this is post. This is post. He's wearing it because he has the the blue and red squares.
Okay. How is that looking?
Huh?
How does that look?
Oh, the animation's gorgeous. It looks like Clone Wars, but it's very what's that word? Very smooth. The animation it's not rough at all. It's definitely closer to Clone Wars than Rebels is, I'd say.
That last season.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. It took from that last season for the look.
Okay.
On top of Tarkin, we see Saw Gerrera. He shows up and he's talking to them. And again, someone pointed out to me that Saw Gerrera, in every appearance he has, his eyes are a different color. Every single time.
I didn't notice that. That's weird.
In the Clone Wars, he has blue eyes. In Rebels, he has light green eyes. In the movie, he has brown eyes. In Star Wars Fallen Order, he has gray eyes. And in this, he has dark green eyes.
Interesting. He's been through a lot. Maybe, chemicals, or,
So I was like, oh, nice.
I do feel like that character is cool, but I feel like they should have let that one go and then make like 2 or 3 other characters to fit that role, because they have made this guy, they've tried to make him way more interesting than he really is. I swear. Like they've tried really hard to make this some kind of mystery guy who's been behind the scenes for a lot of stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
so he shows. We see Rex in his Clone Wars armor, the Phase 2 for a second. Him walking over a ridge. We see Kamino, because there's a big focus on Kamino and the clones, and I won't get into it too much because they show in the trailer. They talk about this character, but we see a clone child who looks like the rest of them do, same template. But they call her the clone is called Omega, and it's seemingly a female.
Well, of course.
So, the idea. Well, here's the interesting thing is that it's looks like it's still based on Django's template, and the idea of Alpha, Alpha Omega, Alpha being the beginning, Omega being the end, is that would be the last of Django's template.
Oh, okay.
Of the clones. And what happens in the trailer, it kind of looks like Omega is going to join up with them and go somewhere. So, because obviously the team is being phased out by the stormtroopers.
Yeah. So are they not going to address are they ever going to show it, do you think, of them making their own, and then they have to come and, the cloners making more clones to help?
I think it kind of, looking at the trailer, it's hard to tell. I feel like that would be they're showing Kamino a lot. Like in that trailer, it's mainly focused in Kamino. I feel like that they kind of are edging that way in an aspect.
Yeah, because I'm saying it seems like, because I was saying that could be another thing with that girl. That as I was saying, I was thinking about it. It could be another thing that they were trying to do to make it different. To maybe find
variety. Yeah. So I'm excited. Even after watching that, I'm even more excited for the show to see what they're going to do with it. And and then at the same time, this actually shocked me. They said they announced officially the first episode is actually 70 minutes long.
Wow.
That's a long.
And I was like, that's longer than any of the Marvel episodes have been doing. That's
really long.
That's about
that makes me happy, but at the same time, that's a really long.
For an opening animated episode, I don't know how many episodes the season's supposed to be, or if it's going to be a continued season show, or it's just going to be like WandaVision and Falcon, where it's a 1 season limited. I don't remember if it's supposed to be.
I don't know.
But it's exciting. Definitely exciting.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, I think that's it. Anything else to add?
That's the news. That's yeah.
I don't know what happened there. It flashed again. Okay, so I was thinking we plan these shows out like to the last detail. We're intricately making sure every T is crossed. But I was thinking, we were talking about one time other things we can do. So we seem to have a lot of people who watch it on the rewind, obviously. So in the comment section, if you made it this far, which is probably unlikely, it's an hour, 40 minutes long. But if you made this song, or the people who are live, put it in the comment section if there's a character you want us to do. Now, easy. Don't do something huge like Yoda or something that would take us 40 years. Something that can be done really fast. Maybe a character that's got a very small role that you want to know more about, and we'll see what we can do to knock that out. And if not, then we'll just
C-list at best.
And I'm getting kind of itchy. I don't like all this hero stuff, so I think we're gonna have to go back to an easy version as fast as possible. But we do have to kind of we have to pull it out a little bit, so we'll have to figure out what we're gonna do. But all right, well, thanks for coming on, guys. Thanks for talking Star Wars with me. Thank you for the people in the comments or in the chat, and everybody who watched on the rewrite. And we'll catch you next week. Bye, guys.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.